The first presidential debate between Vice President Harris and former President Trump took place Tuesday night. It was a sharp contrast to what took place between Mr. Trump and President Biden back in June.
It was certainly a different debate in tenor, tone, just from the start.
Harris answered questions on reproductive rights and the economy, but faltered when asked about her position changes on fracking and border policies.
She was really trying to connect with the American people about their desires, their hopes, talking about things like a lot more support for small businesses and housing.
While Mr. Trump made headlines for alleging Haitian immigrants are eating people's pets in Ohio and dodging responsibility for January 6th, some critics are arguing Trump was fact-checked by the ABC moderators a number of times, while Harris was not.
President Donald Trump is the reigning presidential debate champion, and even though the contest was 3-1 last night, he clearly prevailed.
Both the Harris and Trump campaigns claimed victory after the debate.
I thought Kamala Harris did a fantastic job last night. She was commanding. She looked presidential.
Every single poll had us winning by a lot, despite the fact that it was an unfair debate, obviously.
But how their performances will affect voters' decisions on Election Day is still to be determined.
This race is going to come down to just a few thousand votes, probably spread between a handful of states. It's going to be so close.
The Harris campaign said it's open to a second debate in October. So far, there's no final word from Trump's camp.
You can tell how old a woman is by the size of the fonts on her phone. This girl was like, "Can I get your number?" I was like, "Yeah." She opened her phone. D-E-O.
We laugh now, but we're all going down that road. I don't have the
We're going to get there eventually.
I know. Okay, Chicago's own Dion Cole. He's a comedian. He's an actor, a writer, producer. And he currently stars in the BET Plus series Average Show and as Alfonso in the movie Color Purple.
Yes.
Everything here this morning.
All right, Dion's here. His new Netflix special, Okay, Mister. It premieres in just a couple of days on the 17th of September.
Yes.
And you are performing tomorrow night at the Wintrust Arena.
The Wintrust Arena. We want everyone to come on out. First time African American sells out an arena from Chicago. Yeah, that's me, and we're making history. We want everybody to come on out and have a good time with us, man. Definitely.
Now, you're from here in Chicago, grew up in 100. What does it mean for you to be able to perform on the big stage here at home?
Oh, man, it's everything, man. To come here, this is where my roots, this is where I started at, to make it full circle, to have everybody come on out. Everyone that helped make me, come on out and have a good time, man. We're going to have, I got a lot of surprise guests that's going to perform with me, so it's going to be a whole big thing, man. Go to DionCole.com, get your tickets, everybody.
DionCole.com. We always have to ask this, and I know you're a Chicago guy, you grew up on the South Side, but what are some of your favorite spots in Chicago that you recommend people hit?
Oh, Batters and Berries. I love Batters and Berries. I love eating over there. I like the Soho House. Soho House is great. You know, those are a couple spots that I hang out at on the regular. Yeah, definitely.
Now, you're a man who wears many hats, as they say. Like, you got stand-up comedy. Also, an actor. Which one of those is your favorite?
Well, stand-up is more therapeutic because it's my thoughts. Acting is more of an escape, you know, so anytime I do any shows like Average Joe, which is on Netflix right now, make sure you check it out, and all the other projects, Color Purple and everything, it's an escape to, just as far as like acting is concerned.
Yeah, so acting's the escape, the comedy's kind of a therapy.
Therapy, yes.
Dion, tell us kind of what informs your performances when it comes to the comedy.
It's just everyday life stuff. Like when we're ready to go to the Wintrust Arena, we talk about everything, anything life. Like we're gonna be talking about Shannon Sharp. Don't
leave that live on. Right.
We're gonna have a lot to say about Shannon Sharp Saturday, man.
Who's this Michelle?
Right. I don't know. The world wants to know.
The world wants to know, and we have the answers. Saturday at the Wintrust Arena.
Now, when you're addressing the crowd, when you're up there as a comedian, What sets the Chicago crowd apart from maybe some of the other places that you've been?
Man, Chicago is one of those audiences where you have to be, you can't BS the audience here.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be pure, it's got to be real, and people know it, you know what I mean? And that's what I was raised off of, writing from that same experience, you know, like writing from people that's real, blue-collar, hard-working people who, you know, if they're coming out, you can't BS them.
Right.
You got to give them.
They hard-earned money.
Yeah. So you got to give it to them. So Chicago is, man, that's just one of those cities, man. Shout out to all the comics that's from Chicago.
I hope you get a lot of friends and fam in the audience as well.
Oh, man, absolutely, boy. The tickets is going.
I was going to say.
Man, when you got family, you got to get all the tickets together and everything.
All the second and third cousins, right?
Yeah, right.
Give us the logistics one more time. We're getting the wrap, but where do people find tickets? Where do people find out more about you, sir?
Man, go to DionCole.com to get your tickets, or you can go to Ticketmaster, and you can follow me too at DeonCole on Instagram and all platforms. Definitely, yes. Make sure the Netflix specials, the 17th.
Yeah. We got you.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Good luck this weekend, and congrats on all the
Thanks, guys.
successes.
Appreciate you.
9/27.
Bells marking today's solemn anniversary of the 9/11 terror attacks at the Pentagon, Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and Ground Zero in New York City.
We want to take a moment and share in some of those ceremonies at the places where America was changed forever on this day in 2001.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
Diora Frances Bartley.
Petty Officer 3rd Class Melissa Rose Barnes, United States Navy.
You have endured endless sorrow and unimaginable pain with unimaginable strength.
Eric A. Cranford.
Denise Elizabeth Krant.
Well, the effort continues to make today, 9/11, a national holiday. This as commemorations continue across the nation and throughout Chicagoland.
Casey Cronus is live in Naperville, where the community is remembering a hometown hero. Casey.
A ceremony held here tonight gave neighbors the opportunity to take a moment away from the hustle and bustle of their daily lives to pay tribute to a Naperville Central graduate turned naval officer who didn't make it home like so many others on September 11th. As sounds synonymous with our nation echo across the DuPage River, community members are honoring the lives lost when terror struck.
Naperville is a very patriotic city and one that really takes pride in our heroes.
Heroes like Naperville native U.S. Naval Commander Dan Shanower.
It really hits home when you have this connection to the community.
Shanower was working his post at the Pentagon when he was killed. A memorial created to honor his life, featuring his footprint, and a steel beam from the World Trade Center was one of the first in the country to be completed.
A real place for reflection. I mean, throughout the day, I've heard from so many different people about where they were and how their lives changed.
A day captured like a snapshot in time.
I can tell you how crystal clear and blue the sky was. I know exactly what I was wearing. I could tell you everything that happened all day long.
Hosted by the nonprofit Naperville Responds for Veterans, Shanower's loved ones laid a wreath in his memory. Law enforcement officers on nearby rooftops, a reminder of how much that fateful day changed our world. At the same time, neighbors seated beside one another, another reminder of how the actions of strangers working together did too.
We
We watch people run into danger to save others. We watch people with different backgrounds and different views work side by side. We watch this melting pot of a country unify against hatred, terrorism, and evil.
The Shanower Memorial also features a wall of sculpted faces measuring 48 feet long to symbolize all the lives lost 23 years ago.
Before that sentencing came down, the defendant, Iman Morgan, said, quote, Ella French was not murdered. It was an accident. Now, we do know that Ella French's mother attended today's hearing and shared a very passionate witness impact statement. Also in the courtroom was Carlos Yanez, who survived this shooting. But in terms of the outcome today, he says he cannot call it justice.
It's a message not only to help justice for Ella Jr. and Joshua, but all police officers that are threatened every single day and are shot and killed.
Iman Morgan issued 2 life sentences without parole in the murder of Chicago police officer Ella French. Before learning his fate, Judge Ursula Wolowski told him, quote, you made those decisions, you pulled the trigger.
There were choices that the defendant made on that evening that could have left a young woman alive, another officer uninjured, and people going home safely to their families.
In court today, Officer Carlos Yanez, who was wounded along with French, offered witness testimony. Prosecutors said Yanez suffered bleeding on his brain, still has bullet fragments lodged in his skull, has a prosthetic eye, and ringing in his ears. After sentencing, Yanez was consoled by supporters, explaining how life is for him now.
I'm affected for the rest of my life. So many people were affected by this. My son, I'm limited to physically what I can do and mentally.
French was killed August of 2021 after a traffic stop in Inglewood. Although body camera footage was shown to jurors, defense attorneys argued surveillance did not capture the exact shooter. Morgan was convicted of first-degree murder in March.
It's crucial evidence on that body cam that will free my son that the judge ignored and did not show the jury.
The courtroom filled with Chicago police officers, also the mother of police officer Ariana Preston, who was murdered last year.
I don't know how many more lives we have to continue to lose to the graveyard or to the jailhouse. What I do know is that the men and women of the Cook County State's Attorney's Office stand ready to do their job to hold people accountable and bring justice to families.
And the Cook County State's Attorney's Office also posting another message saying, quote, we would be remiss not to laud Officer Yanez for his courage and resilience throughout this ordeal, which has nothing short of inspiring.
My name's Ed Nelson. I'm the president of the Peone Historical Society. Standing here in front of the Peone Mill, which is referred to as Millie. Peone Mill was built in 1872. It's 152 years old this year. Built by a German family that lived right next door, the Ratchies. He was a very successful businessman, Henry Ratchie. At the time, in 1872, the mill cost $12,000 to build. Everybody loves her. They want to keep her restored, or they'd like her restored. She's pretty special to a lot of people.
My name's Bob Shin. I got the old mill as a neighbor, had a lot of time to play in it. It's kind of like my fort back in the day.
It's a Dutch-style mill. They originally milled oats and wheat, and then corn became more plentiful in the area. Finally, about 1886 to 1888, the sales came down. It turned into a steam-powered mill, and then by World War I, business ceased. So I'll take you inside. I'll show you the inside of the mill. It's pretty cool inside. So we're walking into the first floor of Millie, and we've got a lot of displays. We're open every Sunday from 1 to 3, from May until the end of October. There's 5 stories. It's the tallest building in Peone. So up here we've got a lot of great displays, a lot of antiques, everything regarding Peone and some surrounding areas. So these beams were all hand milled. The craftsmanship is unbelievable in this place. That you think they did this 152 years ago. The body of the mill is really solid. This big beam here is about 18 inches by 18 inches. As the sails spin, it transfers to a gear, which transfers the spinning to here, and this would all turn and would spin the grinding stones. So we're on the second floor of the mill. This is the way you would come if you were going to walk out onto the balcony. We would love to be able to put a second floor balcony on here again so that we could have events. Traveling up to the 5th floor, this is where all the magic takes place. And from right around this area here, this would all spin depending on which way the wind's blowing. The caretaker of the mill would turn the sails in the direction of the wind. It's a pretty cool structure here in town. Somebody needs to give it some love, and the Historical Society's trying to do that. Ultimately, we would like to be able to get to the position where we could put sails back on Millie and have her spin again.
It's a great thing for Peone. It's our symbol, and hopefully, we can get enough money and raise it, and let's get this thing fixed up and make Peone proud with it.
That was from our photojournalists, Todd Gertner and Ed Flynn. By the way, there is an event this weekend to save the old mill. It's being put on by the Peone Historical Society at 427 West Corning Avenue. It is Sunday from 11 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. It is free, but all the proceeds from the fest will support preservation projects. And there's a GoFundMe for Millie as well, and it has raised nearly $3,000 of the $950,000 needed, though, for restoration.
Want to know Chicago politics? Listen to Paris.
Elections, conventions, corruption, there's a lot to get to.
Paris Shutz, the most trusted name in Chicago politics.
Making sense of the issues that impact all of our lives.
Is on Fox Chicago.
I'm Paris Shutz, and I get to cover politics in the world's most fascinating political city.
Find Paris on air on fox32chicago.com and streaming on Fox Local.
Let's get started.
Our Chicago River is iconic. The health of the river has been improving greatly over the past 2 decades or so, but some environmental groups and now a Cook County judge say the Trump Tower has been hurting the river and wildlife for years.
We do know that thousands and thousands of fish and other aquatic organisms would have died from the system.
Margaret Frisbee is the executive director of Friends of the Chicago River. They say the Trump Tower has for years violated the Clean Water Act and the Illinois Environmental Protection Act. Buildings along the Chicago River use the water to cool down heating and cooling systems. Trump Tower is capable of pulling in more than 20 million gallons of water per day. But Frisbee explains buildings have to be careful on their water intake.
If you don't have the proper technologies at the interface with the river where you're drawing the water in, you can actually trap and pull into the system the fish and other aquatic life that end up in the system, or they actually get sucked and stuck on the screens. And so you kill the wildlife that gets drawn in.
The 2018 lawsuit states that the tower operated without a proper state environmental permit and continued to underreport heated water discharge levels. This week, a judge says Trump Tower has created and continues to create a public nuisance in violation of Illinois law. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul wrote in a statement, quote, "All entities, no matter who they are, must be held accountable when they willfully disregard our laws."
And it also will demonstrate to other people you can't get away with this, not in the Chicago area, because we're watching.
A status hearing on November 4th will help determine how Trump Tower moves forward and what, if any, penalty that they will now face. We reached out to a spokesperson for the Trump Tower for comment and have not yet heard back.
But let me tell you, this is Richardson Adventure Farm. We've been out here before for the tulips and the sunflowers and the pumpkins. Look at the spread. We're up on the tower, which is why my hair is all over the place. They have a zip line, and look where it goes to, Natalie, right to the gift shop. Always one of my favorite stops everywhere we visit. Maybe I'll go down there this morning and buy myself a hat. But right now we have George Richardson with us. So good to see you again.
Thank you. Good morning. Nice to see you.
Yes, and I see this beautiful corn maze behind us, the world's largest. Tell us a little bit about the theme this year.
It's 28 acres. There's 10.8 miles of trails in this design this year. We're highlighting John Deere. I think #1 in the industry, #4 worldwide in construction equipment. Just a good agricultural tie-in.
Right, a tie-in, and it goes back to the days, I think they were starting up their business about the same time the Richardson farm was?
That's right. 1837 was John Deere's first plow that he invented. It was, made farming possible in the Midwestern soils here. Our farm dates to 1836.
Wow, that is amazing. Tell us a little bit about some of the other things families can do when they're out here. There's so many activities.
Well, of course, the corn maze is the giant feature, and people should know that it's designed with no dead ends. There's some left turn trails, some right turn only trails, 5 or 10 minutes, so easy to get into it and just taste a little bit of it. But then we've got the zip line, the carousel, making fresh donuts all of the time, jumping pillows, you name it.
Pig races?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay, there we go. That's what I'm in for, the pig races. Those are always fun. And I understand I know you have food trucks here. Maybe you're bringing some brew to the farm?
Oh, yes. Our son-in-law, who lives just over there on the home farm, has started his own brewery, Ninth Hour Brewing, so we highlight his draft beer here, and wine and things like that. Yeah, the food trucks, everything to round out a good experience.
Truly a little something for everyone if you bring the family.
Yes, I hope so.
And you're going to be open here, the corn maze, through October?
Through October 27th this year.
27th, and that's Thursdays through Sundays?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, and we're in Spring Grove, if I didn't say it. George Richardson is going to give us another tour. Maybe we'll do ground level next time, unless I can get him to fire up the zip line. What do you think?
Well, it's a possibility. So.
We'll see. We'll have a zip line. Okay, George, thank you very much, and I will toss it back to you in the studio while I go look for that hat.
Several older people this afternoon are calling on Mayor Johnson to fire the mayor's managing deputy of external relations, Kennedy Bartley, after we unearthed that 2021 podcast interview where she referred to police as, quote, effing pigs.
If I die, especially at the hands of pigs, don't name after me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want a piece of legislation named after me, a road, none of that. But I would be honored if that got more folks to abolition.
Incendiary comments calling for the abolition of police. Bartley allegedly made them during a 2021 podcast entitled This Is Your Afterlife with Dave Marr. They come during a conversation about the killing of a young African American in Colorado.
The police lynch black folks every day. Shoot black folks and brown folks and, down every day in the street. And there's still black folks and brown folks who are not abolitionists, who are pro-police.
Last week, Bartley's city responsibilities were reportedly expanded to oversee the mayor's legislative affairs team, in charge with lobbying city council in Springfield to support the Johnson agenda. It's led to turmoil in the department and at least one high-profile resignation. Today, some Chicago alderpeople said they won't work with her.
I'm beyond disgusted by it. It's unacceptable. It's another demonization of the police department. She should have been vetted a lot better before she's brought on as a staff member, especially on the 5th floor. That's a representation of our city hall, and it's unacceptable.
And I definitely don't want someone so left-wing that we, as aldermen, can't work together to move things forward for our community.
Fox 32 reached out to the mayor's office for reaction last night. In a statement, the spokesperson didn't directly acknowledge the comments, but said, quote, Kennedy Bartley serves the mayor and will be supporting the mayor's vision for comprehensive public safety. Under Mayor Johnson, the CPD budget has grown, and just last October, the mayor negotiated a 2-year extension of the CPD's collective bargaining that doubled scheduled Chicago police raises for this year and next. But that assurance not enough for 2nd Ward Alderman Brian Hopkins, who today called on the mayor to let her go. a call echoed by the 41st Ward's Anthony Napolitano.
Should be fired immediately. Not even given time to resign. Fired immediately, have her box waiting outside with all of her stuff in it at the front door of City Hall on her way out.
And in all, at least 4 employees have now left the mayor's legislative affairs team that Kennedy Bartley oversees in the last week. This as his budget director has instituted a hiring freeze to help balance a $1 billion budget deficit.
We're not asking you to clear us or apologize or be nice to us again. Just do the things that you should do that can be done. If you do that and we don't get an answer, we tried. My goal right now has really become to get an answer as to who did this for the sake of my family. This is a cloud that still hangs over our family, and it's not fair, it's not right, but it's there.
Certainly a lot of questions there for years. Tonight, a new episode of True Crime News is taking a deep dive into a case that shocked the nation and is still a mystery to this day. The murder of JonBenet Ramsey. And here to tell us more about it is True Crime News host Ana Garcia. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Anita. Yes, we should be able to solve this case, right? It's been almost 30 years. There's still a lot of evidence. There's still a lot of DNA testing to be done. How have we not solved this case?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the family wants to know that, but so many other people who have followed it for years, because a lot of people really have been following it since the early days of it. So first, let's just kind of rewind back. If someone is just tuning in, didn't see you on our show a couple of weeks ago, give us an idea of how your show worked and what kind of stories you focus on.
So we are a daily crime show, a half hour a day. We do a good deep dive into 2 cases. We also give you the headlines of what's going on in news. We are taking the perspective of the survivors and the victims. Sure, we are of course talking about the killers and the accused, trying to understand how anyone could do something so heinous to another human being. But at the end of the day, we want to talk about justice and what justice would look like in each and every one of these cases.
Yeah, and so for sure, for tonight's episode, when it comes to this case of JonBenet Ramsey, coming back to that, you got to talk to her father. Her mother has passed away with no answers. What did you guys talk about?
We talked for hours at John's home in Utah. You know, he says he will not go back to Colorado. He'll only go there if the police need him. But, you know, he's 80 years old. Patsy has passed, and he wants answers. Decades ago, it was already identified that there is DNA evidence of an unknown male. Let's figure out who that is. Let's test the rest of the evidence, and let's get some answers on this case. Yeah. And he says even if he doesn't get an answer before he passes, he says his family will continue to press for answers because they've been living under this cloud of suspicion.
Yeah, because a lot of people looked at their family when all of this happened and, you know, oh, it must have been someone in the family that at least knew what happened to her. So how difficult is this reanalyzing the case that's been so well talked about for so many years, and even with the advancements in DNA that we've had over the years?
I think people have very strong opinions about this case. And even John will say that there are a lot of people who still suspect him or another family member. And if you look at the comments, as I was just reading them on social media last night and this morning, there are people who still believe they had something to do with it. But what we're saying is that in 30 years, the technology has changed so significantly, and there is evidence that was never tested or that was tested using this old technology. If we apply the scientific standards that we have now, I do believe that what is perhaps the most famous cold case of the last half century can be solved.
Wow. Okay, so how do you approach this different in a documentary form versus, say, the podcast that you have and the things that you address there?
So in the podcast, we have really long conversations in an informal way, and there's always a call to action to be a part of the conversation. And in fact, this week's podcast is an extended form of the John Ramsey interview. You know, we can only fit so much in our half-hour episode, but in the podcast, which was released this morning, you have you have the feel and the sense of a more casual conversation, which I think then you can read into whatever it is you pick up from that conversation. And that's what we provide. We've got the biggest digital footprint out there of any crime site. So you can listen to the podcast, you can watch us on YouTube, you can tune into the television, right? There's social media. However it is you want to communicate with us about a case, we're there for you.
Discover Chicago's hidden gems and untold tales.
If you look up, odds are you're seeing our work.
They have such an intense and fierce look when they swoop down to grab a fish.
3, 2, 1, go!
Fox 32's photographers share the stories they've captured with you.
Fountain jet shoots up about 150 feet.
Our designers, the sky is their canvas.
See Chicago through their unique lens. Streaming now at Fox 32 on Fox Local. Download Fox Local on these streaming platforms and start watching.
All right, let's talk about winners. The Bears, 6.5-point underdog Sunday night in Houston. Texans went from a worst to first a year ago. Bears are hoping to do the same this season and are caught up in the NFL darlings from Texas. Bears see them simply as the next team on the schedule. I like that. The offense with a chance to turn around on Sunday Night Football. Here's Cassie.
As Caleb Williams evaluated his Week 1 performance against the Titans, he said there were about 6 throws that if he would have hit, the conversation this week would be entirely different. But overall, he's happy they got the win and remaining reflective as he gets ready for his first primetime game in the NFL.
Going to the right places, seeing it well, making some O-line, adjustments and things like that. It's not throws that I usually miss throughout all the time that I've been playing quarterback.
Taking responsibility for performance and accountability. That's what you need from leaders on the football team, not just him. And then moving forward.
But things could look different this week when it comes to the weapons Williams has available. Rome Odunze, day-to-day with a knee injury, did not practice Wednesday, nor did Keenan Allen, resting a heel injury for the day, which means it could come to Tyler Scott, who was a healthy scratch Week 1.
Of the 47 guys that were up, I was not one of them that they felt that could be somebody out there that can help them win. And so, this week I have to put it on display and show them why that for the rest of the year I should be out there.
We're going to get reps with some other guys and things like that, and keep building that trust and belief and bond.
Many draw parallels between the 2024 Bears and the 2023 Texans, when rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud brought a Houston team to the playoffs and even won a game.
It's not motivation for me from him. It's motivation to be able to help the Chicago Bears, win games.
CJ's a hell of a quarterback. I feel like he's talented. He can move around, make some dangerous plays with his legs, and also his arm. He can throw on the run, and then also having a three-headed snake as well with receivers, Nico, Diggs, Tank. I mean, they're a pretty talented group.
Going up against another wide receiver trio means more opportunity for the Bears secondary. Tyreek Stevenson named NFC Defensive Player of the Week after his pick 6 against the Titans.
It is one of the most beautiful cities in the world, and people love to work, play, and visit. But did you know Chicago was recently ranked number 2 for worst traffic in the country and number 5 in the world? What's a commuter to do?
When it comes to navigating the city in the middle of the week, I found a route that doesn't involve stoplights or traffic jams. Today, I'm taking you on a ride on the Chicago Water Taxi.
It could be one of the best kept secrets in the city. For many Chicagoans we spoke with on our adventure, this was their very first time.
I would definitely recommend the water taxi. It's such a wonderful way to get around Chicago and to just take in the sights. And the skyline, it's just incredible.
Captain Doug Keena has been manning these boats for 22 years.
Look around. You just look around. I mean, I'm on a boat all day. I get to meet new people every day. The weather's beautiful, and I get to drive someone else's $1 million boat.
And these $1 million boats are a direct line to the heart of the city and beyond. Pickup and drop-offs include Michigan Avenue, Ogilvie near the train station, and then all the way to beautiful Chinatown and Ping Tom Park.
All right, folks, this is Chinatown.
If you decide to stay for the whole ride, you're going to be experiencing an hour and a half of some of the best scenery the city has to offer.
A lot of our commuters, they'll come on here, bring their lunch, and they'll take an hour ride and have their lunch on the boat. I mean, look at your view.
First and foremost, it's a commuter vehicle. The captain runs a tight ship to make sure everyone gets to work or their destination on time. But even visitors have now discovered it. They're avoiding traffic and cutting down their walking time, while at the same time covering a large part of the Chicago River, kicking back and experiencing the awe of what the city has to offer.
It's peaceful. I feel wonderful inside. And I'm happy when I'm out here.
Chicago has one of the best skylines in the world, and I just want to be out. Such a beautiful day.
The peacefulness, the architecture, the beauty of the experience is only going to cost you $10 for a one-way ticket or $25 for a 10 ride.
So what do you think so far? How do you describe this to somebody who's never done it?
It's awesome. Do it. Yeah, just do it.
During the weekdays, Chicago Water Taxi runs Monday through Thursday. You can hop on as early as 7:30 a.m. and then the day ends at 6:15 p.m. And I gotta say, I think it's worth it. Do you guys think it's worth it? Yeah! It's worth it.
And the best part, the water taxis will run until Mother Nature decides to ice up the Chicago River, and that can be deep into November. Captain Doug is the biggest cheerleader. Even after all these years, it's a job he never takes for granted.
Welcome to Chi-Town. Enjoy. It's going to be beautiful out here. Go for a nice boat ride and stay safe.
Better than a taxi, for sure.
Sylvia Perez, Fox 32, Chicago.
Children who struggle with their weight are showing success using the weight loss drug liraglutide. A study found that kids who used the drug in a late-stage trial lost significantly more weight than those who got a placebo. And the drug is considered safe for children ages 6 through 12. Joining us now is Dr. Shika Jain with UI Health. Good morning, Dr. Jain.
Good morning.
Let's talk about this development. How significant is this news for kids who do struggle with weight?
So I think this could be significant, just like when we saw those other GLP drugs come out for adults. This could be a really big game changer for these younger children out there who are struggling with their weight. We know that childhood obesity can actually result in long-term medical complications. So if there's more data that comes out that shows this can be effective and doesn't have long-term negative impacts on kids, this could be actually great for children and for long-term health.
We want to switch gears here. This is a study from July that found arsenic and lead in feminine products, and it's prompted the FDA to examine the potential harm to women. Now, the study discovered only the presence of the metals. It did not test whether metals are released from those products when they're used. So all of that being said, how concerned should women be right now?
So right now, don't be concerned about using tampons. I think you can still use tampons. There's no evidence that the metals are being absorbed into the body or having any negative impact. That being said, if you do use tampons, I would say just stay alert to the news. Make sure you're paying attention if any other breaking news comes out about it. But right now, I don't think there's any concern. Just don't use a tampon for more than 8 hours and don't use it at nighttime, as has always been recommended. But there's no data that shows these chemicals or these things in the tampons are dangerous. So I would not be worried as of now.
And I'm assuming that I know that we're not scientific researchers here, but I'm assuming the heavy metals got in there because of the cotton and things that are used, maybe?
It's possible. I mean, we'll need to look more into where that's coming from. But again, I don't think there's medical impacts that have been proven yet. So we just need to keep looking at the data, do more research. But tampons are fine to use for now.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Jain. I know that's an uncomfortable topic, but one we wanted to address. This weekend, you are hosting a special event, Women in Medicine. It's a Women in Medicine Summit. Tell us all about it.
So it's actually Women in Medicine Month this month. And a couple years ago, I started a summit focused on empowering women healthcare workers around the country to really take control of their careers and change the systems within which we work. Because we know that there are huge disparities in our healthcare workforce, and that directly impacts the health of our communities. It affects women's health, it affects male health, it affects everyone. So I started this programming to really work on getting more women into leadership positions and to have these uncomfortable discussions on how we can really transition our healthcare system to one that's equitable, not only because it's what's right for our workforce, but also because it actually impacts the health of our communities very directly.
Where can people get more information if they want more on that summit?
So you can go to womeninmedicinesummit.org. We also have a nonprofit, Women in Medicine, that you can go check out at wimedicine.org. And again, data has shown that women physicians actually have better outcomes, and women surgeons actually have less complications of their patients during surgery. So highly recommend you check out our website, come to the summit, or come to our Women in Medicine Gala that's taking place Friday evening. Tickets are still on sale for the gala on Eventbrite as well.
They were magical. And when you're a child looking into those holiday windows, it's just sears into your memory. What a great thing to remember. But now people can bid on them at auction here at Potter & Potter Auctions. Chad Reingold with us. You've been preparing for this. And boy, when we hear that Marshall Field's vintage items are coming up, there's a lot of interest.
Oh, boy. Unbelievable amount of interest. I haven't seen so much interest in an auction, so much local interest in an auction since I've been here. I mean, it's just been insane, and we are so happy. This is Chicago history, and we're just so honored that we're part of it.
Is it Christmas collectors, or what kinds of people are interested in these items?
It's Christmas collectors, it's Chicago collectors, and it's people who just appreciate the beauty and the workmanship that goes into these objects. I mean, these cloth costumes are incredibly high quality. There's a guy who has a beaver skin coat rather, and you know, they're so beautiful and they're just absolutely delightful.
They're lifelike because they can still move.
Yeah, almost over half of them move still. Yeah. And they're 40 years old. I mean, I had trouble moving when I turned 40, you know, so it's like, it's pretty great.
Fountain of youth. Well, the big ticket item is right here in the room.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Tell me about it.
Well, this is the wagon display. It comes, it's the horse and wagon sold together. Mm-hmm. You know, as you can see, one side of the wagon says Marshall Fields, and it's got the light. Obviously, the other side doesn't have the elaborate decoration because it was never meant to be seen. Mm-hmm. But it's got the horse. It's got all the horse's accoutrements. You know, the horse has some condition issues, the poor thing, but it's
been around the block.
It's been around the block a few times, and it's just absolutely wonderful. We have more interest in this and more bidding on this currently than any of the other ones. It's just amazing.
In the signature Marshall Field and Company green.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's got the Marshall Fields. It's got little presents in the back. I mean, it's ready to make somebody's Christmas extra special.
That's what conjures up all the interest. We should mention, though, that there are 700 other items for coin-op collectors.
Yes, it is a big auction today. Almost 750 items, slot machines. We also have advertising signs. We have fortune-telling machines. We've got mutoscopes. We've got gumball machines. We have arcade games. I mean, so much stuff. It's going to be a big day today, but we're very happy and we're very proud to present these to the public.
That's so exciting.
Yeah,
Chad Reingold, thank you so much. You
Sure.
know, the Marshall Field items come directly from the Museum of Science and Industry, where they were housed for a while, but now they're up for auction. There are already customers in here an hour early checking out some of these wonderful treasures.
Fox 32, home of the draft. I am so excited. Training camp. The Fans. The Fox 32 sports team. Fox 32, your home of the Bears.
Take a look at this. It's called The Cave. And I got to tell you, I was trying to figure out where I was going to be watching the game Sunday night, and I think I have my answer. This is one of the coolest sort of fan, man cave, bear cave assemblies I think I've ever seen. And guess what? It's not even in the state of Illinois. We're in Elkhart, Indiana with my man Josh. Josh, I got to say, this place is incredible. I would never leave.
I try not to leave either, man.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
You started putting this together back in 2015. This is not, some of us are lucky, maybe we got a signed football, maybe we got a jersey we can put up. How did you assemble all of this in under a decade? This is remarkable.
I came up with ideas, and I'm pretty good at thinking what I want to go through, what I want to do. And the back wall here is my 85 wall for the 85 Bears. Kind of want to have a section of that. And that goes into the trophy case here with the Super Bowl trophy. So, yeah, I just wanted to section it off, got some newer stuff up front, and, yeah, just wanted to make a cool spot for my fan cave.
Talk to me about like what a game day is like for you. Like, I would want to be one of your best friends if I knew that I got to come out here and maybe, if I'm lucky enough, sit at the VIP table. Who do you got to be to sit at the VIP table?
I'll tell you one thing, you don't got to be a Packers fan. Packers fans sit over there, but yeah, if you're a Bears fan, you sit here or over here, and yeah, the game day looks like we do a tailgate or a driveway tailgate out here. We got a couple Bears tents. We do the food and everything. I'm up early getting things around, and then yeah, we kick off our tailgate at 11. Eat our food, and we're ready to go. So
I love that. I want you to take me over. I want to walk back over to the bar, which is always going to be one of my favorite areas. I want you to tell me this tap right here. This tap right here. Tell me what the significance of that tap.
All right, this is the Khalil Mack tap. He's not on the Bears more, obviously, but this is our touchdown shots. So if the Bears score a touchdown, we all fill up the shot glasses, ready to go for touchdown shots.
All right. What are the rules of if we have a really good live shot? Does that mean that we get to do one too?
Absolutely.
All right. See, this is why we like Josh. Yeah. All right. I want to, guys, as we toss it back to you, I was talking to him about like just how massive of a Bears fan he obviously is, and I said, we really got to do more live shots out here with you, man. This place is really remarkable. And he told me something really interesting that happened to him last year. Josh, what happened to you last year?
What did we talk about again?
You were a Bears super fan.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I was a Bears super fan last year on Chicago 32. Made the drive down out to Chicago, and yeah, I was happy to be on the show.
So I had no idea. He's been on the show before. I clearly realized that he's a Bears super fan, but now we're out here. He let us into his Bear man cave, the cave as it is called, and I got to say, guys, I might never leave. I might just move in with Josh, and especially because he has a good live shot tap ready to go as we toss it back to you guys outside on the plaza.
Jake, I may have to join you one day. In fact, we may have to just take Orange Friday on the road and put it in his basement. That might be a good future segment for us.
He said we can sit with him at the VIP table. You and me, Brian,
right.
baby.
No Packers fans allowed, right? Thanks so much, Jake.
One thing that we noticed right away when you enter the Baton Show Lounge, Chili Pepper's picture is right on the outside, right before you enter those doors. Now, online tributes are pouring in. Chili Pepper was still performing up until a few weeks ago when she received a diagnosis that she had stage 4 cancer. Chili Pepper captivated audiences and set the stage for others that would come after her.
She was a star. Wherever she goes, they know her.
One tribute online says Chili Pepper succeeded in a time when trans women were not supposed to succeed. Harrison McLedowney worked with Chili as a choreographer.
Somebody who was very strong, somebody who didn't take any BS.
Chili Pepper preferred being called a female impersonator. She was Miss Gay Chicago in 1974 and became the first Miss Continental in 1980, a pageant that Jim Flint has kept alive here at the Baton Show Lounge.
And I really couldn't get a lot of people to enter because it was different and it was new, and so I talked Chili into entering.
Though Chili Pepper sizzled in the limelight, some secrets stayed off stage. She called Chicago home, and it was known she was from Detroit, but she didn't talk much about her family.
She lived for her fans. That was her family. I only remember having one partner years ago just for a short time.
Chili Pepper never revealed her age and had a fear of flying or even stepping 1 foot in an elevator. Fiery to the end, Chili Pepper took her final bow on September 11th after a brave battle with cancer. And one thing's for sure, she always owned the spotlight, and her spark will never fade.
When you see what she was a part of and the lives that she impacted, that is, you ask Jimmy, that is truly a legacy. And what she left behind, everybody will always be eternally grateful for.
The longest running drag show in the entire world still happens here at the Baton. There will be a tribute for Chili Pepper at some point, but right now her friends and family are still trying to just process her death.
After beating 5th-ranked Notre Dame on Saturday, you can still feel the buzz and the excitement in the air as we are here with the head coach of the Huskies, Thomas Hammock. Well, Coach, now that you've had a few days to process the win, what was it like beating Notre Dame?
It was unbelievable. As a guy that's from a Catholic high school in Fort Wayne, Indiana, I know what Notre Dame is, and it was just an unbelievable moment for our players and our staff and the university.
How busy has your phone lines been the last few days?
It's been extremely busy. I try to be short with my responses so I can focus on getting our players better.
How are you able to instill that sense of belief in your players going into that game?
Well, we got a veteran team, and we've been in some big games and some big moments, and they believe, they practice the right way and do things the right way, and I thought we can handle the physicality.
What has a win of this magnitude really done for this program?
Well, I think it, re-energized the university, re-energized the athletic department and our football team. And I think for us, we got to continue to move forward so that win don't define us.
What makes this group so special to you?
Because they all been here with me. So every guy in our program, we've recruited, we've coached. I've had a hand in recruiting them and watched them grow and develop.
You've got the third most seniors on your roster that has stayed in one place. Why do you value developing and retaining guys, especially in this era of college football that we are in?
Because you get to know them, you know their why, what motivates them, and then you can go win games like that because you understand how they're going to react in certain situations.
You are actually a former player. How has this program played a role in shaping the coach that you are today?
Yeah, no, everything that I am as a man was based on my experience from NIU under Coach Novak. And so to have that type of impact he had on me, I want to have that same impact on the guys in our program.
You've been the head coach here since 2019. You left the NFL for this job. Why?
It was my dream job. I told my wife I would leave the Ravens for one job, and I was happy I had the opportunity to come back.
So this is truly a dream come true for you.
Unbelievable, and that's why my emotions overtook me after that game because this was a dream to be at NIU.
Well, Coach, as we approach the end zone here, for those who don't know about Northern Illinois, now they do know, but what do you want them to know about your program and what you are building right here?
We got great kids in our program. They do it the right way. They handle their business on and off the field. They are a joy to coach, and I'm proud to be the head coach at NIU.
Coach, thank you so much for the time. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you, and go Huskies.